Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi Bhandary and I've got two of my students. We've got Abhishek R and Vaishnavi Adappa. Both are mechanical students and they've cleared Mindtree. And I thought this would be interesting because a lot of mechanical students shy away from IT companies, alright? So that's why we have these two students who have cracked Mindtree. So congratulations to both of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, great. So can you tell Vaishnavi what was the role and what was the designation for Mindtree?
Actually, in the first, when they sent us a mail, it was given that it will be specified later. But then, as soon as we cleared our aptitude round, they just informed us like we are joining as a trainee engineer. So then, depending on that, like there will be a 6 months of training. Depending on that, they'll put us to some particular projects. So, so first we are joining as a trainee engineer.
Okay, and what was the eligibility? You remember the eligibility?
It was 60% in 10th and 12th.
Okay.
And 7.6 GPA in engineering.
Okay.
No active backlogs.
All right.
And no year gap or something.
Oh, no year gap. All right, that's a good point. And open to all branches.
Yes, ma'am.
Open to all branches. All right. So what were the rounds?
First we had aptitude round in which it was like first was quantitative, the second one was logical, and the third one is verbal assessment. In the logical like regular questions like how in the sense those logically how we can answer, so that type questions we had. In the second one, that is quantitative, related to mathematics, physics, or that distance time, those questions. And in the verbal round, they'll check for one topic will be given. On that, you'll have to speak for 1 or 2 minutes.
Oh, you have to speak?
Yeah, on the spot.
Okay.
So the timer will start. Like they'll show us a topic, they'll give us to think for 30 seconds. That's it. After that, 1 minute or 1.5 minutes, you'll have to speak on that topic.
Okay.
Like continuously. There will be no gap. Like you'll have to speak for 1 full minute.
Okay.
And they used to give a topic and ask questions on that.
Oh, that was also there. That was also part of the bonus. Okay, what topic did you get for? Do you remember the topic that you got for speaking?
Was, what's your favorite subject and the hardest subject you had?
Okay, so you had to speak on both.
Yeah.
For 1 minute.
Yeah. Other one was your favorite movie or favorite character.
All right. And was it the same for you? Or
no, mine was your childhood birthday. Like how did you celebrate your childhood birthday?
Okay.
And the second one was same thing about your favorite character from a book.
All right.
So I was like literally at that moment I did not have the topic to speak. So what I did is just next to me there was a Bhagavad Gita book. So I was like Krishna is my favorite character. Like I read Bhagavad Gita usually.
Wow.
So sometimes you'll have to just look around you. There'll be answers around you, right?
All right.
So that just went on.
So you could speak?
Yeah, I could speak on that topic.
Yeah, but I think they were fairly simple topics. Basically, they were looking at whether you could communicate or not, right? Yeah. So what was that when they said they were asking questions? You said no, they were.
Then they used to read out incorrect questions. We had to correct the grammars in it and record it.
Oh, and so it was difficult or?
No, it was easy.
It was easy.
And there was one more thing, ma'am. Like there was a passage. Like they'll go on reading it for 2 minutes. Like they'll only read it that passage. You're not supposed to like re-listen to it. Once if you listen to it, then that's done. Then later they'll put up some 2 to 4 questions, MCQ type questions. You'll have to tick on that. So that was one more in that verbal assessment.
All right.
Yeah.
And you can't record it. In case if you miss it, we'll face lots of problems.
Okay.
Like it's played only once.
All right. So you have to be a good listener.
Yeah.
All right.
And the recording starts immediately when it stops. That's a bit hard. Like,
what stops? I didn't get.
Like in case if they give us any question, like correct a sentence, the recording starts immediately. We don't get some 10 seconds time.
Okay.
There was one more also, ma'am. Like they'll read out one sentence. You'll have to listen to it carefully. Immediately the timer will start, and at the same time you'll have to repeat it. Once by mistake, if you stop that recording, you'll lose that question. Like you'll be not able to re-record it.
All right.
So that's the one thing.
So I think then a lot of students would have missed out on because of that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it a maximum elimination would have been done because of the
actually
aptitude?
because verbal assessment plays a major role, ma'am. Because in Mindtree, as I have seen, they look into your speaking skills, like how good how good you can communicate to others.
Okay.
So that's the main thing they'll look into.
And
that
many got filtered out in this.
In that. So you tell me, even you, I think one TCS also somewhere you did some mistake, right? So what is the usual challenge for a student when they're doing an online aptitude? I mean, what are the points that students should keep a note of? Because it looks very easy, but then so many times things go wrong, right?
First thing is the network should be proper.
Okay, network, yeah.
And I faced a small problem because of that. And they'll give you auto the requirements like computer, what windows you need, all those. And white background, all those.
Oh, they say white background.
Yeah, few companies specify.
Oh, is it? All right. So if you don't have a white background, what do? You go and sit somewhere, or you can change. There's an option of changing the screen.
It's not particularly a white background, ma'am. Like it should be, your face should be visible properly to the camera, because some people they'll just go and sit in front of the window, because of which there will be a lot of light and your face isn't visible properly.
Okay.
So because of that they'll specify that. And the other thing is, like if the timing is around 5, like you'll have to sit in front of the computer by 4 o'clock only, because they'll ask you to install some other softwares and all to your computer. So because the process will be going on in that one only.
So 1 hour before any online test.
Yeah, 1 hour before.
That's always better, right?
We should avoid looking all around. Focus on the camera.
Okay. So even people are getting eliminated
because
because
the eye movement. They get eliminated.
Just because of the eye movement. All right. Okay. All right. So anything that you want to add for the aptitude, or like how was the aptitude? You felt it was okay, or like?
It was okay, like normal permutation, combination, sums and all.
But it's not normal, right? People don't clear.
Yeah.
But we had a good clearance. We had 106 final selects, but still it was tough.
The questions were easy, but we didn't get enough time to solve all the questions.
All right. So time factor was there. All right.
But in Mindtree, it was like in some companies will be like for one question you'll get only 1 minute. But in Mindtree, it was like for 30 questions they'll give you around 30 minutes. You can attempt how many questions you want. Like there is no time limit for each question. Like you can come back and you can tick those answers also again.
So that was easy for
Yeah,
you.
that was easy.
So what was the next round?
Next was
the same day the result declared, or no?
It was like after a week or something. And next we had a technical interview. And in my technical interview, they asked me to introduce myself. Then he asked few concepts, like OOPS concepts, what is OOPS, arrays and all.
So you know that you're a mechanical student, so you remembered?
I had taken CS in my 11th and 12th, that helped me.
Okay.
And engineering first year, there's a CS subject.
Okay. So for the mechanical students, what would you say, because many times they'll say, oh, I forgot and all that, so.
And in case if you specify you're from mechanical, they ask questions from mechanical.
Okay.
In case if you don't know anything from C.
But for you knew today.
Basics, I told them I know basics in C. And being a mechanical student, we need to select an open elective subject. And I had taken Java and Python.
All right.
And I told them after that, they started asking more questions on that.
Okay. Yeah, so whatever you say, the interview actually starts revolving around that.
Yeah.
So did you feel that having said that was good, or should you have stuck to mechanical?
I felt as I knew few concepts, I felt that was better.
Okay.
He asked me to execute few programs. Like he told me to initialize an array, then to display all the array elements, then to display all the array elements in reverse order.
Okay.
Then after that he asked me to display the duplicates in an array.
Okay.
I did not know what that was. He used to suggest me few ideas. He was like, take your time, you can
all
do.
right.
Like, he was supportive, and I did that.
All right. So anything else specific in the interview which you would want to share?
I feel it's better to tell them what you know. Like
Yeah.
if you know programming or something, tell that.
All right.
I had specified properly that I know, being a mechanical, I know basic concepts in C.
Okay. So that's impressive actually, if you know a little bit, and because naturally you're getting into an IT company, so if you can specify that, it's nice, because, and then this is anyway taught in the first year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you brushed up on that later on, or how is it?
No, final year we had taken open elective as Java and Python. It was almost same thing.
All right. Okay.
That helped me a lot.
That helped you. Okay. What about you, Vaishnavi?
Yeah, for me in the first, so asked me like whether you know any one of the language. So I was like, yeah, I know a bit of Java and C program. So he asked me to upload my resume. So depending on because I had mentioned I know this language in my resume, I had already mentioned it. So he started asking me, like putting up questions from Java, some basic questions like Abhishek said, oops, all those questions, primitive
say
data
all that.
types.
What?
Yeah.
Oops, then?
Oops, primitive data types. Then we have other things like enumeration and some questions from C programming, because they already know that we have already learned C programming in our first sem. So he asked me to write a simple programming on C programming, using C programming. So at that moment only flashed was Hello World program, which was our first program in C program. That was very easy, just 3 steps. That's it. So I just wrote it down, and he was like, clever, he told me. So next thing was like some other questions he asked. Like he asked me what is server and client. Then he asked me one thing: what is Java is a front end or a back end language? Because from some of my CS friend, I had heard that it is a front end language. So I just told him it's a front end language. So he doubted me for a second. He was like, "Is it?" He asked me. So then he was like, "No, I'll help you out." He told. Then he was like. Then he asked me that a server and a user question. So he told me, what is a server? So I told him that it's a network where you can get some information, those things. So a user is the one who can access it, I told him. So now you know what it is. Java is a front end or a back end. Then after that, he was just looking into my resume. Like he took some time, he took a glance on my resume, and he was like, "Oh, you're a biker." He told me, "I'm a biker."
Yeah, by the way, she's a biker.
Yeah,
and very rarely you get a biker.
Because Rashmi ma'am had told me to put that in my resume. That helped me a lot. Actually, I'll tell you how it is. The thing is, he just looked into my resume and he was like, "Oh, you're a biker. Which bike do you ride?" First, he asked me a little technical questions. After that, he went around that thing only. He was like, "Tell me which bike do you ride?" And he asked me about the history of Royal Enfield. So I told him. I was prepared for that actually. So I told him everything. So he was really impressed with that. And later on, he was like, all the interview was done, and last was like, "It was very nice meeting you." So I added one more thing. Yeah, sir, this will be a memorable one for me because this was my first interview. So I was like, "Oh yeah, nice." Then we just ended it up there.
Okay, good.
One main thing I want to tell you is just be good with any one of the language, because what he asked me first, he asked me is, which language do you know? So I told him I was good in Java. Most of the questions were from Java only, not any other language. So which language do you tell? The questions will be put on that language only.
Okay.
So that's the one thing I would love to tell.
So you had any mechanical questions? No.
Yeah, I had one mechanical question. So he was like, he asked me before that. He asked me, being mechanical, why do you want to come to Mindtree? Because it's IT company. So I told him that I had listened to that pre-placement talk. So I got to know Debashish Chatterjee, who is the CEO of Mindtree, who is also a mechanical engineer. So I told him that he's a mechanical engineer. He has brought this company to such a height. This is being a top 10 companies in India. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for me, being a mechanical engineer, to get into IT. I told him. So he was impressed from that also. So he got to know that I'm from mechanical engineer. He just quickly searched in Google for some mechanical questions, and whatever questions he got, he just put up in the front of me. Then the questions were like, what is turbulent laminar flow? Then example for that. So I had a very good example for that. That's this thing, what agarbatti. So first, when you just light it up, you'll get a turbulent laminar flow. Then it will go on turbulating. So that was a good example, which was told by my mechanical sir. So when I went and told my mechanical sir also, he was also like, "Oh yeah, you gave that example." He told my juniors also about it. All those juniors were like, they were coming and asking me, "Oh, you got placement exams?" Your sir was telling.
So that's why it always matters that you have a good teacher, and a good teacher who can simplify things. Because you can remember that example.
True, that's it. So then other questions also he had asked me, what is Pascal's law? And Pascal's law was a very basic law in our mechanical engineering, so I could tell that also. So after that, those technical questions. Then about my biking skills, done for my technical round.
Very nice. So
then they had asked me sorting techniques.
So they didn't leave. Your interview went on very long, right?
Yeah.
And he asked me to explain it. How does a bubble search works? Bubble sort works? All those questions. And
So then you could answer.
Yeah, and a few questions which I did not know, I told him I don't know. He was like, okay, he kept on asking. Yeah.
So your interview went for roughly around?
Around 25 to 30 minutes.
Oh, that's actually pretty long, for a service company. For you,
yeah.
it was around 15 to 20 minutes.
yeah.
All right. And then after that, what was the next round?
Next was HR round.
All right.
There, he asked me, being a mechanical, why did you join Mindtree? And as Vaishnavi told, I told about the CEO and all, and I had researched on their latest technology on which Mindtree works. I told them about IoT, and being a mechanical engineering, it'll be better as I know basics of C and mechanical. It'll be better for me to work in all those fields.
Okay.
That time he started asking me what is IoT, how does it work, and all. I knew a few basics on that. I told them.
Oh, very nice. So you've done your research, right? So
Yeah.
actually, that's very important. Then anything else?
Then he was like, "Are you ready to relocate?" All those questions.
And you said yes.
Yeah. Then, are you ready for night shifts? I told yes.
And the other thing is, if you don't know something, please don't mention it, because if you mention it, the questions will be put on that, because they'll listen to it very carefully. Like when you introduce yourself, if by mistake, because I don't know Python, I have learned Java. Like currently I'm learning Python, but I did not know Python at that time. So if I would have told it by mistakenly in my introduction, like the questions would be put on that one also. So that would be like negative point. So where it would be difficult for you to answer. So that will give a very bad impression on you, because you're just lying it to them that you know everything.
Yes.
That's
So whatever you say and whatever put in your resume has
you
to
should be very
thorough
clear
with
about
it.
Yeah. That's
And for you in the HR, what did they ask?
HR usual questions like, are you willing to relocate, or are you ready to work in night shifts? Then the same introduction about yourself. Then she was very she just, when I came online, and she was like, did you have your lunch? And like she made me comfortable in the first, like whoever I had got for technical also, even like they are really good. They'll make you comfortable before you start your interview and all. Then she asked me those questions like, I told you, whether you are ready to relocate. So you will have to answer it in such a way that, so I told her that, yeah, I'm ready to relocate, because if I'll get to meet new people, I get to learn new culture from them. So that would be good for me. And other thing, night shift thing, I was like, yeah, I'm good with that. I can work in night shift, I told her. Then other questions were like, again, the biking thing came there.
Okay.
Again, she asked me about this, which one do you ride, and same thing. Then that's it. That just lasted for 8 to 10 minutes. That's it, HR interview.
Okay.
There was nothing much in that.
So any tips that you would want to give your junior, especially if it's a mechanical student, because mechanical students, I think half the time they're so demotivated, okay? And what would be your message to someone who's a mechanical?
First thing, I feel when you're going to your fourth year, I feel you should not carry any backlogs. Most of my friends were not able to write because they told they should not have active backlogs.
And people had active backlogs?
Yeah, many had. Because mechanical final, like those DME subjects are like really hard to clear.
Okay.
Then I feel it's better to prepare for aptitude during all those second year courses and all.
Yeah. Okay, those courses help you?
Yeah.
All right.
It helped me a lot.
Okay.
Then, and I feel it's better to take coding like Python or Java in your open elective if you are trying for Mindtree or those subjects.
Okay. All right. And Vaishnavi?
Yeah, the same thing, ma'am. Like in open elective, we'll be having civil, all those things. People will think, like usually from mechanical, obviously they don't want to take CS, that's why they came into mechanical. But if you want to get placed, it's better to take open elective as Java. I regretted taking Java actually, but when I got placed, I really thank God for taking that decision because I took Java as my opt-in subject. That's why I could clear Mindtree, frankly speaking. Or else I would be kicked out of technical round, that's for sure. So it's better to, right from the first year, it's better to have good knowledge from knowledge in any one of the language. That would help them to clear not only Mindtree but other things also that would help them to clear even the big companies too. So that's the thing.
Yeah. So I just want to add on to students, whoever is listening, especially if you're a mechanical. See, what we tell is, write all the IT companies, but it's not that you have to get stuck with that. If you get your core company, just join your core company also, but just don't keep waiting for that core company, because most of the core companies are going to come in the 8th semester. Until then, I think it's very depressing, right? Everyone's getting a job and you don't. Isn't it? It's like, oh my God, I don't have a job, and the pressure is more. And even after core companies come, first of all, the number of companies are going to be very less in whichever college, and again, the selections are going to be very less. Okay, so it's actually pretty tough for a mechanical student to get into a core company. So keep your options open. So it's not that you have to join IT, but have an IT option and then also write a core company. The moment you have an offer in hand, I think the confidence level and everything goes up.
Yeah,
and there's a huge relief, and there's a backup. There's a backup, right? And even when you go to your core company, suppose when your core company comes and then you say, I've got into so-and-so company, they already value you, because here is not someone who's just a jobless fellow or, or a girl who has come, you've already proved yourself. All right, and so thank you both very much. Wish you the very best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks so much. And it's bye from all of us.